Hello, how are you doing? I'm bringing you an update on my book juggling act, which is to say, taking books out of the house and then unfortunately some of them come back in. So they get moved around a bit. I'm book juggling for local charity bookshops. So today I took out 5 books, which was a pretty good score. 5 out of the house into a new charity shop, different from my favourite one, which I got them from. But then there was a pause until the next bus for my home. And a pause between buses is just another word for going to a bookshop, really, isn't it, when it all comes down to it? So I trotted down to my favourite bookshop and I got 3. However, 5 out, 3 in. We are winning, slowly but surely. So here's the ones I want to tell you about that I just picked up and my self-justification in getting them. One is a poetry journal, and I'm interested in submitting to poetry journals and sending my work off, but also reading theirs. This is Brittle Star, particular issue. And there's nothing like actually having the journal in your hands to see what they publish already. This is particularly good because it is June 2020, so it's very of its time. There's an epistolary letter and an epistolary on lockdown by Sarah Passingham, which starts off with that hope about being a writer that in the lockdown that she would get together the materials and write a big novel or different books or scripts, and actually it didn't. So she's going to go into that, and that intrigued me. Also, there's a mixture of poems as well as short stories, obviously, that I'm interested in. And there's also a little erratum slip. Now, erratum just meaning mistake that's put in after the publishing. This is what the erratum was. It's the final paragraph, the last sentence of the editorial introduction to the book. It should read, "Poets and storyists are not doctors and nurses, and literature might not be able to intubate you, but it can and has and does help people breathe." That's a pretty good sentence in itself. So where did they go wrong? So I looked up what it said in the book. And this is how the mistake read. Poets and storyists are doctors and nurses, and poetry and fiction might not be able to intubate you, but it can and has and does help people breathe. This is by the editor, Jacqueline Gabitas. So there we go. It actually serves to draw attention to that particular phrase. And of course, there's a poetry pharmacy, which is, I think, getting better and better known for producing poems that can help you in different situations to come to terms with them, to feel more positive, that are helpful. And the very fact they call it poetry pharmacy, we have, poetry kind of edging into the area of health and self-care. So that's one book, and it was very, very cheap, but it did not travel alone out of the shop. The next one requires a bit of heavy lifting. So here we go. Now, The Earth from the Air, 366 Days. It's a revised edition. It's been out for a really long time, and it does what it says in the tin. For each day of the year, there is a magnificent photograph of the Earth from high up, and it shows you nature, environment, man's mark on it, but also the beauty of nature as it is, and there's a different picture for each day. And I took this as inspiration, and of course most of it is visual, which is great for me because I'm always getting books with words, so this is a bit more of a balance to inspire my own making, my own visual part of poetry and creativity, and who knows, some of it might even be collaged. So that is The Whole World, which I somehow got into my backpack and made off with, having paid for. And finally, an art book by one of my favourite artists, and it's quite large, so excuse me. Bridget Riley. Now, her work has intrigued me for about 30 or 40 years, and as you can see, it looks like it's just geometric and colour. The colours are fabulous. I absolutely love what she's working with. But she is inspired by nature, and particularly waves and sea and coast. So actually there's more to it than that. It's not just totally non-subjective art, and she's inspired by the pointillists as well. And I saw this is a catalogue for an exhibition which was held in the National Galleries, and I've seen the exhibition, and the person who was the attendant kind of going round said some people begin to feel strange or woozy or nauseous or dizzy because of the effect of the sort of shimmer of the lights and patterns. And she was right, I did. And the strange thing is, in this book, which is, they're produced much, so I shouldn't say obviously, they are produced much smaller. The actual ones themselves are like the size of a wall in a house. They're huge, so they're overwhelming when you stand in front of them. But even in the book, on a small scale, they do make you feel a bit strange. And obviously there are essays in the book which I'm really looking forward to reading and finding out more about her and more about her work. There was a fantastic documentary done on the BBC just called Bridget Riley, and if you can get across that, if you like her work, it's well worth finding out. I'm intrigued because her work is kind of bridging the design world, a sense of patchwork, putting colours together in solid shapes is quite similar to that, and that's a very interesting crossover between fine art and crafts. So these are my 3 books for now, and I hope you enjoyed seeing them. Bye for now.